Hi, welcome to Catechist Corner. I'm Don Forster, and today, with us just recently celebrating Mother's Day, we're going to recognize and celebrate the four women doctors of the Church. We have St. Catherine of Siena, and St. Catherine of Siena was a Third Order Dominican and is most noted for ending the Avignon papacy during the 1300s or 14th century. So Third Order Dominican. And ended the Avignon papacy. She was influential in her writings and letters to kings and popes during her lifetime, during the 1300s, during the 14th century, and she was able to persuade Pope Gregory XI to leave Avignon, France, and move back to Rome, thus, like I said, bringing an end to about a 70-80 year period of the popes living in Avignon, France, rather than in Rome, Italy. She was noted also, St. Catherine of Siena, for having visions as a young child, visions of Jesus and the saints. And even though she never officially joined a particular religious order, but she did become a Third Order member of the Dominicans, her parents built on their property a cell for her to live in, much like Dominican nun would have lived in a cloistered convent at the time. St. Teresa of Avila, she is known as the Doctor of Prayer. And she is also noted for having reformed the Carmelite order, so she was a Carmelite religious nun. And St. Teresa of Avila did this also with the help of another saint, St. John of the Cross, in renewing and reforming from within their Carmelite religious order, and also suffered greatly, persecuted within the church by people who did not appreciate or accept her reforms that she brought. St. Teresa of Lisieux, aka known as the Little Flower, she also was a Carmelite religious, like St. Teresa of Avila. And St. Teresa of Lisieux, even though she died at a very young age of 24 from tuberculosis, she gave to the church a way that is a sure way of holiness, and that is known as the Little Way. Which encourages people to find sanctity or holiness through just everyday routines and everyday activities that we are to do if we are trying to accept God's will for our lives. On this picture of St. Therese here, we also have a third-class relic, a piece of small cloth that was touched to a piece of her hair, and that will be probably another future episode on Catechist Corner talking about relics. finally, the fourth woman doctor of the church is Saint Hildegard of Bingen. And she is actually the most recent saint to be declared a doctor of the church. She was declared a doctor of the church in 2012 by Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. Saint Hildegard of Bingen was a mystic, which is someone who has visions. She had visions of Jesus, of Mary, of saints as a young child, very similar to the same experience that St. Catherine of Siena had as a young child as well. She was a noted reformer and teacher in many areas, so she was noted for her expertise and knowledge in the sciences, medicine, and education. She, similar to St. Catherine of Siena, St. Hildegard influenced popes and kings by writing letters to them and expressing her views on these variety of different subjects throughout her lifetime. And she was a professed member of the Benedictine religious order. So she was a Benedictine nun. There are usually three conditions that have to be met for a pope to declare a saint, a doctor of the church. And so the three conditions are: one, sanctity of life, must be a saint; two, life and doctrine that were lived and taught have to be orthodox in agreement with the church's teachings. And the third and final thing is through writings and through books and through letters must show a deepening of our understanding of one or many truths expressed by the church. This is also known as the eminent doctrine. The feast days for these four women doctors of the church: St. Catherine of Siena, we celebrate her feast day on April the 29th. We celebrate the feast day of St. Teresa of Avila on October the 15th. We celebrate the feast day of St. Teresa of Lisieux, or of the child Jesus, the little flower, on October the 1st. And we celebrate the feast day of St. Hildegard of Bingen on September the 17th. St. Catherine of Siena and St. Teresa of Avila were declared doctors of the church by St. Paul VI in 1970. St. Teresa of Lisieux was declared a doctor of the church in 1997 by John Paul II. And St. Hildegard of Bingen, as I mentioned earlier, was declared a saint of the church in 2012 by Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. So as we go through this month of May, and like I said, recently having celebrated Mother's Day, let us also not forget the women saints of the Church of our faith, who also have played a mother-like role in our lives, and especially recognizing these four outstanding women doctors of the church: St. Catherine of Siena, St. Teresa of Avila, St. Teresa of Lisieux, and St. Hildegard of Bingen. Pray for us. Be good and go be saints. What else is there? Father, servant of God, Father Emil Capon, pray for us. Till next time, have a good day.